Assalamualaikum, hi and a very good evening. My name is Norashima binti Masdi. So today my group will present about the chapter 3, which is the theory of individual labor supply. I will start the presentation with the first theory, which is the work-leisure decision basic model. So, for the first theory, we assume that individuals choose between work or leisure, which is work is the time that we spend on a paying job. Meanwhile, leisure is any activities where you are not paid, such as rest and work within household. So, we can identify whether a person prefer to choose work or leisure from a several perspective. For the first perspective is indifference curve. As we can see, the curve show us the negative slope. That means to keep the level of utility remain the same, if someone choose to get more leisure, then some of income must be given up. From the curve, we can see on the very top of the descending curve, there are lots of income but very little leisure. That means individuals are willing to give up a lot of income for a little free time. And then, by looking to the marginal rate of substitution curve, we can see how much amount of income one must give up to compensate for one more hour of leisure. For example, from the curve, at 3 hours of leisure, so that means there are 21 hours of work, one must give up 4 units of income to compensate for one more hour of leisure, while at 8 hours of leisure with 16 hours of work, one must give up 1 unit of income to compensate for one more hour. So we can say that the more time you work, the more income you have to give up for hours of leisure. So for the indifference map with several indifference curves that we discussed just now, curve further from the origin indicate higher utility. A person will maximize utility by getting to the highest attainable indifference curve. So the next is work-leisure preferences. So from the graph, we can see there are two sets of curve, which is curve A and curve B. So for the curve A, they're known as leisure lovers, which is they are willing to sacrifice a large amount of income to get a small increase in leisure. So for them, leisure is relatively valuable to them. For the curve B, they're known as workaholic, which is they're willing to given a large increase in leisure to compensate for a small decrease in income. That is, leisure is not very valuable to them. So the budget constraint is the combination of income and leisure that worker could get given a wage rate. For example, at a wage rate of 5, a worker could get a maximum income within 240 per day, while at the higher wage rate, which is 15, a worker could get the maximum income, which is 360 per day. So that means the more wage rate of income, the less leisure that one could get, and the more income they must give up for hours of leisure. For the utility maximization, the worker must find which of the feasible combinations of work and hence income and leisure provide them with the highest level of utility. For example, at A, the MRS is less than the wage rate, so the individual will value leisure less than the wage rate, and so the others. So next is backward bending labor supply curve. The backward bending labor supply curve is the result of the income and substitution effect wage change for a given person. Hours of work may increase as the wage rate rise. For example, if the wage rate rise from 10 to 25 per hour, then the hour of work rise from 8 to 10 hours per day. So, the income effect is the change in desired hours of work resulting from a change in income holding the wage constant. So, for the substitution effect, the change in desired hours of working resulting from a change in the wage rate holding income statement. So the net effect, if the substitution effect dominates, then an increase in the wage will cause individuals to work more hours. If the income effect dominates, then an increase in the wage rate will cause individuals to work fewer hours.
So next presenter, I will present about Becker's model, which is the allocation of time. First point is changes to work-leisure model. Gary Becker has expanded the work-leisure model in two ways by using a household perspective and allowing for multiple uses of time. First model is household perspective. He can use the household as the decision-making unit. Second, decision-making is interrelated. For example, a wife's decision to work may depend on whether her husband is employed. Next point is multiple uses of time. Household produce utility yielding commodities with combinations of market goods and time. Three uses of time. First, labor market time to generate income to acquire market goods. Second, household production time. And last, consumption time. Meal example. Meal combine goods acquired with income for labor market time, household production time to make meal, and consumption time to consume the meal. Uses of time are competitive with each other. If both suppose work, less time for household production and consumption.
The next one is commodity characteristic. Commodity characteristic is divided into two, which is in time incentive commodities and good incentive commodities. Time incentive are using a large amount of time and small amounts of goods. Meanwhile, good incentive commodities are using small amount of time and large amounts of goods. The other one is household choice. In this part, household members should allocate their time in which they have a comparative advantage. It is because if one household member has a greater productivity in the labor market rather in the non-market activities, that person should work in the labor market. In today's world, female should work is more developing a comparative advantage in household production. Women had been discriminated so that it gives good opportunity for the husband to earn more in labor market.
My name is Soleha binti Palmana and I will present about household production and the family of labor supply. Household production, same as income versus leisure, except leisure can be used for household production. Household production can be cooking, cleaning, taking care of children, leisure, or anything that generates utility. Budget line is now a trade-off between market goods, income, and home production. When wage rate rise, income effect purchase more home production, that means work less. Substitution effect, purchase less home production, that means work more. Second is adjust home production to more good intensive and less time intensive, such as eat out more often and more processed food can be rising obesity, more home technology, more help hire for home production such as cleaners, janitors, daycare, and the last is reduce quantity and increase quality of kit. Increased ability to substitute market goods for time will flatten indifference curve. Increase work hour. Some new implication, the decision about labor supply, labor market work, and the decision about how to produce the commodities, household production, we consume are jointly made. Household production activity, economic analysis of the family, goes beyond the simple labor supply issue to deal with issues such as marriage, divorce, fertility, child rearing, practice, and other activity and decision the family undertake. Second is the family of labor supply. In a marriage household, if couple decide one will stay at home to take care of children, what determine outcome? Relative wage, relative utility or ability in providing childcare. As a woman's wage rise relative to men's predicted effect on who stay home with children, division of time in home production. Okay, time spent in these four areas differ based on gender and marital status. Women with young Children spend more time in household work activity and less time in paid work than women with other children. Generally, women spend more time in household work and less time in paid work than men do. Okay, other partner productivity at home is affected by the other partner labor supply to the market. If the wife decides to increase her hour work in the labor market, her husband's marginal productivity at home may rise as he takes over chores one performs. If two partners enjoy each other's company, the value a husband places on his time at home could be reduced if his wife is at home less often. Flattening his difference curve and thus lead to an increase in his hour of paid work. During a recession, wage offer fall. Two offsetting effects on LFP. First is discouraged work effect. This is the withdrawal of a worker from the labor market due to the reduced availability of job opportunities in a recession with rising unemployment rate. Second is add worker effect. This is the entry or addition of the other partner, wife, into the labor force when the husband market productivity decline or lost his job due to a recession or waiting to be recalled from a layoff. Evident is the discouraged work effect dominates an LFP drop during recession, and worker effect has been shrinking due to increased UI generating more married women working. This is graph of choice retirement.
Assalamualaikum. I will present about choice of retirement. This graph shows about retirement age. The steepness of I-curve reflects willingness to postpone retirement for additional income. Steepness of budget constraint determined by unique profile, social security formula, pension plan future, wealth and substitution effect from change in budget constraint. If the financial rewards to postponing retirement beyond age 62 increase, the person is faced with a wealth and substitution effect. The wealth effect is holding retirement age constant. The person has greater wealth and will retire soon. For the substitution effect, holding wealth constant, the reward to postponing retirement has increased. Substitute money for years in retirement. This graph shows about effect of increasing rewards to postpone retirement. In age 70 until 64, the substitution effect is more than wealth effect. In 64 until 62 age, wealth effect is more bigger than substitution effect. Next is about private pension. Private pension have two defined contribution. First, defined contribution plan. Defined contribution plans is a saving account that the worker may receive as a lump sum at retirement. The present value of defined contribution plan grows with retirement age because contributions are added over time. Over time, there has been a switch from defined benefit to defined contribution plans. Second is defined benefit plan. Defined benefit plan is a life annuity promised at retirement. The annuity payment generally tied to years of service, final salary, and a generosity factor. The present value of defined benefit plan may eventually fall with retirement age. For example, failure to collect a annuity versus increase in size of annuity. Accurately fair adjustment for postponing retirement by 1 year gives present value of pension independent of retirement age.